I just realized I'm using the not so great microphone. Sorry about that. I will do better next time. More towards, I think, the left side, which maybe that's more favorable today. Who knows? The word demonic and words. Um, I am part of Felix's subconscious. I am also Felix's higher self, however it is that you want to square it. Um, and the word demonic has meant a lot to Felix over the years since he's done a lot of research on demons. And it has a lot of impact on spirits because humans use the word demonic a lot. They just throw it around. It means so many damn things. And pardon my French, but it actually gets to be a bit frustrating. The word demonic is just peppered onto any number of subject matters, any number of types of spirits or religions or symbols, any number of affectations, any number of taboos, and all it really is a taboo. All demonic means is taboo to most of human society right now, and it's extremely frustrating because it just means nothing. Whenever someone says, "Oh my gosh, that's demonic," um, it really means nothing. If they mean it's unethical, if they mean it's evil, if they mean it's against their religion, if they mean it's against the religion of one specific thing, do they mean it's opposed to one specific god? Do they mean it's unholy? Um, Quite often, it has nothing to do with that. It has something to do with some kind of human social faux pas. And so it's like, no, it's not demonic in any way whatsoever. At one point, I saw somebody doing a fashion video where they were looking at some new fashion branded items, and they had the logo on the new item. It had little horns on it, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I can't consort with that. It's demonic." And it's like, is it really though? What makes putting horns on something demonic? And what makes the demonic part something that means you can't consort with it? Why do the horns on the logo have so much control over human behavior? Because the horns, they are just symbols, and quite honestly, they could mean any number of things. Especially right now, considering so many people are into Wall Street and the bull symbolism that comes from it, you could easily have those horns just equal the horns of the bull, meaning capitalism, yeehaw. There's it could mean Viking helmet horns. You just don't know. You don't know what people are getting from that symbol. Projecting onto it, it is demonic, and that means that you must avoid it, is a harmful mindset to have because it seems like you're not very in control of that if that's what that causes you to do. If any time it is that you perceive something to be demonic, you just avoid it entirely with no thought whatsoever, like a complete reflex, with an entirely absorbing emotional experience that takes you over on camera where you're supposed to be performing for the public in a completely different manner, then that's concerning. It sounds like it has a lot of power over your life whenever the word means that. Now, the word demonic does not have to mean that. It does not have to be a trigger word that causes somebody to suddenly jump and go, "Oh my gosh, I have to be completely out of the same room as this thing, or I will experience damnation of my eternal soul." Why would any actual deity cause that to happen? It's just not only illogical, but all of these religions claim to have a God that loves the people who worship the God. So why would a loving God do that? Just stop doing stupid things to yourself. That is usually what the word demonic does, is it causes humans to be stupid. Um, and that's really the funny part, is that often humans blame demons for causing some kind of ignorance or causing some sort of fit or problem. Demons are the ones that are causing all of things that are making humans do bad things. Um, but the ignorance is really happening whenever somebody reacts to the word demonic with this sudden fit of fear. Oh my gosh, I have to avoid this. I cannot be around it whatsoever. It's going to overcome me and overthrow me. And it's a very strange perspective to have, considering that the person who's saying this is supposed to be protected by an all-powerful God. So if you're protected by a all-powerful God, you should not actually have fear of demons, because your all-powerful God can protect you from the demons. Get it right. What beliefs do you have? Demons should have no power over you whatsoever, and you should not have any fear of demons. This is no matter whether you are a Satanist or a Christian. If you're a Satanist, then demons are supposed to be your friends, so you wouldn't be afraid of them. If you're a Christian, then God is supposed to be your friend, so you shouldn't be afraid of demons. To be afraid of demons from either religious perspective is completely illogical. And there are other religious perspectives besides Christian and Satanic that also observe demons. There are Shinto demons, there are Buddhist demons, there are Indian demons, Hindu demons, sorry. Angels in many faiths, there are Hebrew demons. Those are different than the demons in Christianity. There are different fallen angels in different other faiths. There are a lot of other religions that have demons that I haven't even mentioned, and a lot of other religions that have some like angels or other guardian spirits that I haven't even mentioned yet. There are many, many religions in the world with many, many versions of angels and demons. So, what do you mean whenever you say demonic? Because it can mean a lot of things, and it's important what it means. Because in their respective religions, angels and demons are actually very important. So it's also very embarrassing when someone just kind of explodes about, the possibility of something being demonic, because it's like, well, why can't you handle that? There are ways of handling demons in whatever your perspective, your respective religion is. If you're Catholic, then you should know what to do if a demon shows up. That's kind of what part of what they talk to you about in church. So, did you show up at church or not? If you have any other respective religion and a demon shows up, you should know what to do. You should at least know like which priest to call if a demon shows up in your respective religion. And if you don't have a religion and a demon is showing up, then how do you even know a demon is showing up? What religion is the demon from? You can't just have a demon without a religion. And this is one thing that I think a lot of people don't understand, is that demons are entirely a religious construction. Just like you cannot have an angel without a religion, you have to have a religion if there is a demon involved. There are no generic angels and there are no generic demons. Anytime that someone uses the concept of an angel or the concept of a demon, it is religious in some way, and they have to define their own religion to be able to define what is an angel for them and what is a demon for them. And sometimes those concepts may change if this person practices several different religions, or if they simply observe different religions because, like, for instance, they have different family and different religions. So they may go to a Buddhist service and they may go to a Catholic service. Perfectly that's perfectly doable in this world, and that's perfectly happenable in this world. You have that happen actually quite often. So if you have the concept of demon in Catholicism and the concept of demon in Buddhism, and they're different, then whenever you just say demon, if you don't define which religion it is that you are saying is demon, whatever it is that you're saying is demonic here. If you say, like, the logo has horns on it, oh my gosh, that's demonic. According to which religion is it that the logo is of a demon nature because it has horns on it? Because that particular belief is actually, as far as I could tell, very Christian evangelical belief, kind of a Southern Baptist thing, as far as I know. And it's also extremely modern. This idea of equating goats and horns to Satan or demons, which are adversaries in a evangelical Christian type of religion, that's extremely recent in history. And for most other times, horns really haven't meant a big freaking deal. Moses had horns. I don't think that a lot of people understand this, but if you go find Michelangelo's sculpture that is he did a grave. He did the actual sculptures and statues over a what's it called? Like a crypt, um a tomb for I think one of the popes or one of the higher ups in the Vatican. And one of the statues that is at this crypt is Moses, and Moses has horns. There is basically some scripture that says that he had something like uh, an outgrowth on his forehead or some kind of horns, or maybe he just had a nimbus behind him. There's different uh, beliefs on what it might have been, but it was quite a traditional belief that Moses, one of the patriarchs of several religions on this planet, had horns. Was just a person with horns. They, as a thing that was growing out of his skull, just happened to be like that. And that's not something you would expect, considering some of the outlandish beliefs about what something having horns means now on this planet, especially in very Christian biased environments. And I think it really needs to be understood just how much this is a bias. Um, the horns, cloven hooves, having a tail, having a forked tongue, fangs, uh, goat-like in appearance, or snake-like, or serpent-like. Both of those are just very, very common ways of attributing someone or something as demonic, and they really don't mean as much as you think they do. They aren't as deep as you think they are. A lot of times they go back to conspiracy theories that were invented back in like the 1700s, or not even conspiracy theories, just like political biases. Um, I just a brief mention, but a lot of the anti-Semitism that ends up in spiritualism in a period of time where people are advocating for Israel having a country back in like the 1800s. Um, and so, like, the backlash against Jews in the literature at the time was basically people having political disagreements over whether Israel got to have a country and whether it had a divine right to that country. So like you end up with a lot of stuff that's attributing um Jews as being demonic in this whole integrating different religions together. And so whoever's of the dominant religion, say Christians, they say, well, okay, the other religion over there, well, now that's demonic. Now the people who practice the religion over there, they're demons, they're demonic because they're in the other religion. They're the other. Demonic always means the other. It means the other thing you're not supposed to be, or the other thing that you are not, and the other thing you're supposed to avoid. And all demonic really does is make people prejudiced. Demonic basically says, okay, person, whenever you hear the word demonic, you need to get scared and avoid the thing that we call demonic. That's just a recipe for prejudice. And it's such an easy recipe for prejudice too, because instead of saying that they're any one particular bad thing that people might be biased against, instead it's such a generic thing. It's like these people are the bad type of people. They're just they're nebulous bad, but there's nothing exact that we'll say about them. There's nothing exact that we'll say about this thing. There's nothing exact that we'll say about these spirits or these gods. We'll just say that they're demonic. And that means you need to avoid them. Now, that's extremely frustrating because it just eradicates any kind of logical thought and any kind of reasoning that someone can go through before they truly approach something and see whether it is that they want to even think about it before they even want to consider it at all. They've basically been, given the command to wall it off. So when it comes to anything that's been demonized, it's important to understand why is it being demonized, and is it being demonized in a way that just truly has no actual informational value whatsoever. Now, you can criticize something without demonizing it. You can simply say, I think that's wrong. I don't agree with that. I think that that's not actually a factual take. I think that that's just like a bad opinion. You can say all these things without calling it demonic. When I say something's being demonized, I mean literally someone saying, that's demonic. That's a demon. That over there, that person, that idea is demonic. I don't mean anything else. I'm literally saying the word demonic. When you use that word, quite a lot of times you're saying nothing. And a lot of times it's being used just to channel hate towards an arbitrary target while reducing the amount of thought that's put forth about the kind of hate that's actually being channeled. It's a very dangerous mindset to be in. So I want to talk about some other ways that we can think about the word demonic and also what the word demon actually means outside of this context, because there's a lot of work that can be done in occult scholarship when it comes to angels and demons. But at first, you have to have an understanding of what angel and demon even means. So, first of all, there are different meanings to the words angel and demon. And all of those different meanings are different directions you can take your scholarship in, different directions you can take your studies in, your spiritualism, whatever. So I want to talk about kind of an underrepresented meaning when it comes to angels and demons. Angel, hate to break this to you, but angel originally was angle. And the angle was the angle that you look in the sky towards the heavens to find a certain star. And that's what angle meant. Angle is actually a geometrical term. That became angel. Yes, there are lots and lots and lots of works that have been written and artworks that have been produced depicting angels and all many different levels of angelic choirs and many different subtypes of angels, and describing all of the different things about them and the weird of all the, they have lots of eyes and these ones look like big flaming wheels. Except that if you look in the sky and you look towards them and you look at certain angles, you will see big flaming wheels if you have a right telescope. If you have a good telescope, you will see all kinds of shapes in the heavens. And they did have good telescopes back then. And they could see all kinds of things in the heavens, like nebulas and galaxies. Sometimes they could see comets. Sometimes they could even see supernovas. And if you notice something about the choirs of angels, oftentimes there's 7 of them, and there are usually 7 heavenly bodies regarded in the sky in the working astronomy / astrology of the time. All of this angle stuff, it's all to be able to find the right light to look up in the sky at the right time. Often, the right light in the sky meant which season it was and when you were supposed to plant the grain, whenever you were supposed to let the cows out so that they could do cow things and make little cows. Um, the stars told you when it was the right season for that. There is a star for everything. There is a astrology / astronomy combination that can tell you when anything is supposed to happen, and all this is now in your farmer's almanac, so you don't really have to look up there. You look in your book instead. But when we don't have farmers' almanacs, we do this with the sky. You don't really have to look up there. You look in your book instead. But when we don't have farmers' almanacs, we do this with the sky, and we've always done this with the sky. And we've always looked at certain angles to be able to learn certain things. And certain angles will always teach you certain, and typically they match up with the constellations that are at that angle. Usually we have 72 angels and 72 demons because you have 36 decans, which is 10 degrees, in the day sky, and 36 decans in the night sky. Basically, you divide 360 degrees in a circle by 10, and you get 36 of those things. There's 3 per zodiac, because if you divide the sky as a circle into 12, then every 3 decans you get a new zodiac. So you also have that happen, of course, for the day sky and the night sky. So with the demons of the Goetia, there's 72 of those. Well, there's one for each decan, one for each day decan, one for each night decan, and there's an angel for each decan and each night decan. When it comes to the difference between angels and demons, it depends on which scripture or which text, which grimoire it is that you're reading. When it comes to grimoires, those are made far later than scripture. They're not religious texts. They're stuff that's written in like the last maybe 700 to 400 years. Usually is when you're looking at most grimoires. Most of them are written to look like they're older than they actually are, or they're being copied from materials that are kind of crumbling and of very questionable origin themselves. So a lot of very hard to find any provenance for this grimoire material that goes beyond 1300 years ago. Actually, no, sorry, 700 years ago. So most of this stuff is basically old star manuals with metaphors written about them when it comes to which um, which constellations and which old names for stars and old meanings for stars that the angles and decans are referring to. Well, I mean, you've got angles. What are demons? Um, if you consider an angle to be one of, when it comes to the decans at least, 72 different ways of looking at the reality that we live in, depicted as being part of the laws and structure of the reality that God built. So the reality that God built would be like, the real reality, the world we live in, the manifested world of creation that's physical and solid, the waking reality. Um, it's not a delusion. It's not a fantasy. It's the real working everyday world. That is supposed to be God's reality. So the angels are sure of this reality. And demons are kind of the opposite direction. If you think of an angel as an angle to look at this whole reality from, and this whole reality is made up of like all these different angels, demons go the opposite direction. When you look at a demon is a dimension. A demon is a portal. So once you work with a demon, you're kind of entering a whole plane that is just that demon. The demon itself is a dimension. And so instead of looking at an angle, working with the world through that angle through the consideration of that angle, taking the advice from that angel, you basically fall into the demon and are possessed by the demon. Now, instead of looking at this in terms of a supernatural thing, a lot of people look at demons as being entirely psychological. So whenever you have an angelic experience, you're experiencing the outside world, the physical world that exists outside of your body. Whenever you work with the demon, you're experiencing something psychological, something that exists inside of your head, inside of your body's experience. And so the possession is simply possession of yourself. You're experiencing possessing your own body. Therefore, a demon, you can still look up in the sky and find the angles that it is referring to. Decans are still being referred to when it comes to both demons and angels. It's just that the experience you're going to have is probably going to be a more internal experience, or you're going to be immersed in an experience in something else. You're going to basically take a portal further into your own consciousness, probably into your subconscious, or you'll take a portal into someone else or something else's consciousness. A demon is about being immersed. It is not necessarily about changing your own identity or destroying your own identity. It is simply experiencing another identity in relation to your own identity that you already have. You can retain yourself the entire time. Oftentimes, whenever people have a experience with a demon and it is adverse, they're usually bringing in something from outside that is kind of weighing into the experience. If you have a preconception of how it's supposed to go with demons and it goes exactly that way, you might want to question those preconceptions. Um, why does it need to be that way? Why does it need to be difficult? Because there needs to be an explanation for what force it is that's causing things to go adversely. What force is it that's actually controlling things to make things go badly? This is very important because like I've been to churches where they really do believe in demons and angels, and they've actually told parishioners, look, I know you think that's a demon, but that's not actually that's just bad luck, or that's not a demon, that nothing's actually happening here, it's okay, just like, go on, chill. Or sometimes they're like, that's not an angel, there's not actually an angel there. I don't know what to tell you. And like, so, it's possible to practice discernment and say, hey, this is demon, this is demonic, and also say, hey, there's no demon here. I know demons, and there's just not a demon going on here. But to be able to practice that discernment, to be able to discern between demon and not demon, you do have to be able to say sometimes there's no demon here. And to be able to say there's no demon here, you need to be able to say what a demon is and define what a demon means. If you do not have a definition for demon, if you cannot say what it is that is going on whenever a demon shows up, if you cannot really articulate what makes demonic different from evil or taboo or not allowed or unlawful, etc., then you don't really know what else it is that they need to do. One reason that I don't think that demonic is a very good word for people to be using is because all it really says is like, hey, this thing is probably bad, but it doesn't really tell you what to do about it. Because depending upon what religion it is that you're from, different things are going to happen if there's a demon there. For some religions, demons are fine. You're just supposed to like regard them in a certain way whenever they're around and then move on. And for some religions, you've got to call upon a very specific religious figure to be able to deal with this. Not just any priest will do when it comes to demons in some religions or in some sects. And for some religions, they don't believe in demons. Like, some religions don't actually believe demons are real. They do not regard demons as being possible because their definition of God basically doesn't allow for demons to exist. So you can't simply state that something is demonic and expect everyone of every religion to be able to heed your call. You cannot just blow the horn and expect aid to come to Gondor. You're going to have to state what it is that you need, because there's quite a lot of religious people out there who don't really know the first thing to do about demons because they don't have them. Demons are not universal. I think that most people do not realize about demons and angels. Neither demons nor angels are universal. Not every faith has them. Um, some faiths do not have an angel like servant class for spirits in their religious hierarchy. Some people do, some religions, some people also. Some religions do not have bad guys, they don't have demons. They might have trickster figures who sometimes get up to mischief or who test the boundaries of certain societal structures, but they would not call those demons the way that other people of other faiths call their spirits demons. And some people of some religions, they have demons in their religions, and the way that you interact with those demons is completely different than in other religions. Sometimes you're supposed to just like treat them like any spirit who is a messenger of God, and then bid them go on their way in observance and piety of God. And usually, if you're doing it within the constraints of your religion, then the demon simply goes on their way because you all listen to the same boss, which would be God of that religion. Then we've got, say, the ancient Greek religion, where demons are Daimons, and they're actually supposed to be spirits that are not on the same levels as gods and are actually on the same level as human psychology. And they actually symbolize all of the thoughts, all of the subconscious desires, all of the different emotions, all of the different mental illnesses, all of the different like fun, good mental states that humans can have. They're basically embodying different mental states and different types of psychology. And those demons, some of them end up being the demons that are in the Goetia. So they're literally aspects of the human subconscious. If those are all just entities in the plane of thought that are actually made of thought, then are they even really evil or good? And from the ancient Greek religious perspective, the answer was no. They are not any kind of bad spirit to be vanquished. They simply are on the same level as humans, and um, like the gods don't really have any grief with them whatsoever. The most that you would really do about demons in the ancient Greek religion was that if you had too many of the like maleficent ones, then you would undergo purification. And in fact, undergoing purification was a regular part of the ancient Greek religion. So you'd be doing that anyway. Um, and their purifications were, there's nothing now today that is equivalent, but they did have a form of holy water. And it's pretty interesting, actually, that, for instance, the Catholic Church goes on to have its holy water ceremonies with its purification rituals. It's not equivalent, but I noticed that every religion has some sort of purification ritual in it that is supposed to be getting rid of negative spirits, but is also supposed to be teaching its parishioners about actual hygiene because they usually do a double duty. So, demonic. Another thing that demonic tends to mean whenever it comes to religions is whenever someone has a state religion. And many ancient religions were also state religions. Ancient Greek religion, for instance, state religion. Um, if someone has a state religion, then often demon can mean outsider, or can mean foreigner, or can mean political enemy. Um, in the ancient Egyptian religion, the Kemetic religion, you had Set. And Set was the god of outsiders. He was the god of foreigners. He literally looked like a foreigner. He didn't look like he was from there. Like a foreigner. He didn't look like he was from there. And different people have regarded Set in different ways when it comes to the Kemetic religion. Sometimes a lot of Western reads on the Kemetic religion have read Set as being completely evil, as being equivalent to Satan, when in fact it's a completely different mythos, completely different story. Set has his own thing going on. He's actually the god of like the desert all around um the city, like in the Nile area. Um and So he's a legitimate god of the desert. He rules that whole area, and he's actually like sometimes the winner in some of the mythology of the Kemetic religion. Um, so whenever people take Set and make him equivalent to Satan, equivalent to demonic, it doesn't really work because the Kemetic religion does have some things that are equivalent to demonic, but they have nothing to do with somebody being a political enemy. They have nothing to do with somebody being a foreigner from outside the country. That's not what their religion defines as evil. It turns out to be something completely different. It turns out to be lies are actually the evil, demonic, satanic force in the Kemetic religion. Um, Lies itself, the actual force of lies, as represented by a snake with a name that they would actually scratch out after they carved into stone to show that like every time they say the word, they put the word there, they scratch it out. It's like scratch out lies. Like that's just how taboo it was. That was their demonic thing. Was that snake and its name? By the way, the snake's name, sometimes people call it Apep, but you would know it as Apophis. Um, and this is the origin of like an apostasy, um, apostate. Whenever somebody is like put out of a religion, they are like decreed as outside the religion. They are declared apostate. That the Apophis snake is the origin of kind of that wordplay. So even the name of the snake is actually the word that we use for something that is scratched out, is mooted, is determined to be completely taboo. So the concept of demonization is basically the same as the concept of censorship. It's basically saying that whatever it is that we've said is demonic, that is something that needs to be censored. And I am not going to say whether that is wrong or right because I have yet to know of a society that does not do it. So I'm not sure if there's really a point in saying that it is wrong or right by its very nature. It seems to be very human in nature that there are some things that we think need to, by default, be. And the thing is, the human brain does this quite often. We have blind spots in our vision because of where our nose is. Since Photoshop our nose out of our vision all the time, our nose is scratched out in how our entire experience of everything it is around us we see. Our nose is completely gone. Whenever you look around, you don't see your nose, but it's there. And that's because your brain has decided that your nose is invalid. Nose doesn't get to be there. Your brain has demonized your nose, and now it's completely erased and censored. Now, it's not that your nose is evil or anything. It's just that your brain has said, "Hey, I need your nose to be gone so that you can have an entire seamless plane of view like you like to have." Nothing against your nose. Whenever you look in the mirror, you'll see your nose all the time. It's great. Um, but there's certain things that you just don't see or you don't notice or you don't hear or whatever because your brain basically says, "Okay, that's too much." You saw something that was a little bit too weird or a little too scary or a little too out there. I'm gonna make that look like something you expected to see. Um, or something that's just like a little better for you. The brain can do that. The brain can Photoshop out things, Photoshop in things like faster than you can think because the brain is responsible for how fast you think. And the thing is, that in its nature is something that most people would consider to be demonic. And I would consider it to be the ancient Greek version of demonic. The demons of thought, the demons that are thoughts and exist as thoughts and ideas and emotions and experiences. Um, I think that words are really important whenever we use them, and just saying something is demonic doesn't really communicate much of anything. But if you do talk about demons, there are a lot of people out there. There are a lot of different religions out there, and there are a lot of different demons out there. And so, like, there's a lot to be said. There's a lot to be found out. There's a lot to research. So, if you're actually interested in what demons are and like what it is that you can learn about different religions, and different spiritualities, different types of magic that all kind of work with demons. There are plenty of books out there. A lot of them are free on the internet. I'd say go to sacred-texts.org, the esoteric archives, and there are plenty of religious texts out there, plenty of grimoires, all free, all online, and you can read them all. And there's plenty of demons in those, and that's where they come from. Go find them where they come from and see what like, judge for yourself what it is that you find. Um, I've had people ask me like, are you scared of demons? Are you scared of what the demons are going to do whenever you die? And um, one, no, but two, the reason I make that face is because there's so many assumptions kind of lumped together with that question. One, I don't know what happens when I die. I don't know what happens after I die. I can't know that ahead of time. So I'm not scared about it because I just don't know. If I don't know what's going to happen, how can I be scared of what's going to happen? I would be scared of something if I knew something bad was going to happen. Now, just like the very thought that something bad might happen, I don't know if that keeps other people up at night, but whenever I actually take a moment to think about it, I can never really understand why something bad would be waiting for me in the afterlife. And I think that this is a personal thing for each person to kind of sift through themselves. But because I don't really see any point in there being something bad to wait for me in the afterlife, whatever that afterlife may be, I don't really have any fear of demons and what they might do to me in the afterlife to begin with. Now, if that weren't the case, I would say that practically, I don't really see why they'd care. If demons can do all the things that demons can do, I would expect them to be doing other things than waiting around for me to die. And that whenever I die, I just truly don't expect them to give that much of a crap. Like I am not expecting a much of a to do here as perhaps the people who are asking me this question are expecting. Um, but I guess uh, one of the things I notice about the angel and demon discourse is that there's a lot of production, a lot of performance involved that I think you really should question. Um, if if there needs to be a whole hell for you whenever you die to punish you for all the things that if there needs to be a whole hell for you whenever you die to punish you for all the things that you did, and like 50,000 demons exist just to torture you, that sounds kind of narcissistic. And also, I don't really see why all of those demons should exist to cause this torture when, like, quite honestly, like, a person can't die but can feel pain. Put them in a volcano. There, you're done. Like I just the description of the afterlife is usually the description of either the inside of the earth or a volcano. So everything's on fire, but it's also dark. All right, we got that handled. Great. We're done. And so like I just there's this level of malice that demons are supposed to have for humans, and I know in the Bible, um all of this story of like Lucifer being the adversary, being the angel who was the one who's all mad at the humans or whatever. um Lucifer's not in the Bible. The only time Lucifer is mentioned in the Bible is whenever someone is using a fancy word for the morning star, because they're comparing a Babylonian king to the morning star, because they're talking about how the light of the morning star is not comparable to the light of the sun. And at the time, a word for the morning star was in fact Lucifer, because that was the Roman god of the morning star. Also, the god of light. The Greek for Lucifer was Phosphoros. Like phosphorus? That's what phosphorus is named after. The Greek god of light, also the god of the morning star, Venus. That's it. That's the joke. That's it. That's the only reason that the word Lucifer ever ended up in the Bible. It was a typo. At some point, someone decided not to translate the word Lucifer to the morning star, and at some point, people started misreading that word usage of Lucifer pretty badly. So, in a lot of new versions of the Bible and a lot of modern versions of the Bible, they don't have Lucifer in there anymore. But sometimes they swap it out for like Satan or adversary. Sometimes they swap in or swap out all kinds of words for like Satan, demon, adversary, Beelzebub. And if you saw how many times they swap these, they consider them to be interchangeable for each other, you'd start to suspect that they don't actually believe in any of them. It's just words for them. Beelzebub, Satan are the same thing to them. So why should it matter to you, like whether or not Beelzebub or Satan are there? Because they're two completely different entities, by the way. Beelzebub is the Lord of Flies and has a lot to do with decay and the actual process of a dead body becoming a skeleton. And Satan has to do with being the adversarial spirit to your deity, or the adversarial spirit to whatever progress it is that you're trying to make. Like, all of these concepts mean something, and all of them are actually pretty important, and they're all very specific to whatever religion it is that's even being discussed, because this can change as soon as we start like determining that's a different religion being discussed. So you really cannot treat them like they're all the same, because they're very different. They mean things. Like, all these words mean things, and all these spirits, like if you consider these religions to be real, then these spirits are real. And so you can't just like say, oh my gosh, that thing, that fashion logo with the horns on it, that's demonic. Like, really? Demons are supposed to be like millions of years old or something, and you're saying that that stupid shirt that's like gonna last like maybe a season is demonic? Come on. Don't cheapen demons like that. Don't cheapen your religion like that. Like, demons are supposed to be eternal servants of your god. If you're from a religion that like that believes in these kind of demonic like ideas like this, so like are you saying that your god's demons are just throwaway junk? That's kind of weird. um why is your god doing that? So um I think most of all, using it's demonic as an excuse to not treat something seriously, as an excuse to just kind of throw it in the trash mentally, that's dangerous. Um, it's dangerous for your concept of what demonic is. It's dangerous for your psychology, because if you've got some kind of automatic ignore, don't treat something logical switch in your brain, I hope you're in control of it. And also just Every religion that I've been exposed to, if it actually has demons in it, they typically treat them seriously. There's usually something you're supposed to be doing about them. There's supposed to be something that's supposed to be um like going about to handle them. You're not supposed to just ignore them and treat them as if like they don't matter. Some religions don't believe in demons, don't believe that demons are possible. They don't believe that their definition of a god allows for demons to exist. Um, so regarding demons in those religions is in fact a mistake to begin with. Some religions, demons are actually on the side of God, and they're like just another type of deity, basically. And so whenever a demon shows up, they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, cool. They're gonna take care of this thing. Cool. Stop freaking out." So I just say overall, when it comes to demons, stop freaking out.